Thanks for staying with us. We're going to continue with Punch. Waike, who has a $6 million bribery scam? Anybody has that story? Waike, you have that story? The US-based Nigerian.
Yeah.
Why are you getting that?
Yes, I have the story.
Go ahead.
The NBA has backed the removal of the CCT, the chairman. So the chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau, or the Senate, it's legal for the Senate to remove the chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau because that's a process. So apparently the president had removed him and he said the president removing him wasn't right. So in a closed session that lasted over an hour, 30 minutes, the Senate reviewed what the case brought against him because they said the Code of Conduct Bureau is supposed to be a place where an institution that upholds integrity and good conduct amongst people that are occupying positions within Nigeria. So they said the Code of Conduct Tribunal is to maintain high standards of morality and accountability within government, and whoever is going to be heading that position should be of high moral compass. They found the chairman to be found wanting, Danladi Umar, and so he has been removed, and they followed the procedure. 84 lawmakers agreed to this, which constitute more than the two-thirds needed. And they said that since it falls within the law, that the man had fallen short of requisite standard of public officers to conduct their affairs, then he has been removed. There are many controversies around this particular person, and I've been waiting for when they would formally remove him. So I'm happy that at least they've done it. I wish it was done faster. That immediately the controversies came out, there was quick implementation of the use of system to correct the system, because sometimes when it takes a long time for justice is served. Now I've even forgotten what the controversy was about, but there was major controversy concerning the Code of Conduct Bureau that we have now moved on from before justice seemed to be served. So let's be swift with bringing people to
Remember that time now?
Yes, it was being dragged everywhere, but it took so long before
Okay,
they
so
officially did what they
go ahead.
Yeah, so a United States-based Nigerian, Ifeanyi Ozo, has been sentenced to 72 months. They gave him 72 months in prison and then another 3 years that supervised sentence. So he will be out, but he will wear that thing, maybe
Parole.
that thing on his leg. Wear that thing.
Yeah.
Waka too far.
Yeah.
So they said that he was taking a $4.9 million insurance fraud. It was, he was, giving bribe. Then they direct the patients to this insurance scheme, and then they will now go to this dental clinic that was not
Never existed.
not registered. It was non-existent. So the jury just did 1 hour. It was a 3-day trial. 1 hour.
They're done.
Found him guilty on all counts.
I moved on.
Give him.
So our president has finally, after 14 months of wait, began to deploy consular officers to diplomatic missions worldwide before the anticipated release of the list. So they already are being deployed. If you recall, about 14 months ago, last year, our president had called back all the ambassadors across the country, across the world, to come back home. And the envoys were instructed back then, marking a shift in diplomatic strategy, was looking to realign its foreign engagements to better serve national interests. So now that our president has quite a bit of international interest, it's important for him to reappoint the consulars across, and then we'll see who and who can in turn to sustain our interest in many of these countries around the world. Moving on quickly right now to Daily Sun. Federal government's economic policies lack human face, says ACF. Alleged 400 million naira fraud, IGP gets court nod to arraign Senator Andy Uba and 2 others. FG states local government share 1.4 trillion naira in October. Doctors advocate telemedicine as insecurity threatens healthcare delivery. FG earmarks 112 billion naira to safeguard schools in 3 years. And why government sacked USIC's Council, VC Registrar and Pro-Chancellor. Okay, story.
So there seems to be good news regarding our educational sector, especially for the children, because the government has allocated 112 billion naira to ensure safety and inclusive spaces for children over the next 3 years. The information was made known by the Minister for Women Affairs, Hajia Suleiman Ibrahim, and he said this. She said it during the International World Children's Day, which was just 2 days ago, or yesterday, and they commemorated that day by doing an event that says "Advancing Children's Right for Sustainable Future." And the breakdown of how, there was no breakdown detailing how the money will be disbursed, but they said that they also want to ensure that there is a domestication of the Child Right Act among all the 36 states. Not all of those states already have the Child Right Act. She said that they are making notable progress to protect the children's rights by domesticating it. They also said that we should remember our children and that they are the collective future. We all know, and that we should build a Nigeria where children feel safe and empowered. But what I wanted to find out, which I couldn't see in the write-up, was how this 112 billion was going to be spent and how it would impact and bring safety to children. Because we know once we provide education, ensure that the schools are safe for the children to come, and parents who really want their children to come. The education is free for the children. Those are the most important things. Before we end up spending 112 billion building, putting buildings together when we're not ensuring that the children feel safe in the buildings that are put together.
There's a story that caught my attention here because we are so used to saying, big wigs don't get prosecuted. Somehow the issues are swept under the carpet. So in this case, Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has received the required nod, the back end of the Abuja division of the Federal High Court, to arraign a former lawmaker, Senator Andy Uba, on a 2-count charge bordering on alleged 400 million naira fraud. The IGP had alleged sometimes that in 2022, the defendants, alongside one Hajia Fatima, now at large, conspired to defraud a complainant. So somebody actually made a complaint to the police. They had allegedly defrauded a Mr. George Ubo to the tune of 400 million naira. So the senator, alongside Crystal Chidima and Benjamin Etu, were all arraigned in court because they allegedly defrauded this man. And so the defendants were accused of obtaining false pretense by making a presentation to Mr. Ubo that they had perfected a way to secure a position of the managing director of Niger Delta, that's the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, for any person who can afford the sum of 400 million naira. And they collected the money. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So they were said to have committed an offense contrary to Section 8 and punishable under Section 8 of the Advanced Free Forward Act. Okay, any other story in Sun? Should we move on?
The Association of Residents Doctors in Namdi Azikiwe Teaching Hospital have called for telemedicine
options. Right.
They are doing that in most parts of the world now. So because of the insecurity in the country, that it has become necessary for doctors and patients to interact without physically coming together. He said it would enable patients to access the doctor, receive health services through communication technology and unnecessary exposure to the threat of insecurity. This was said at an AGM with the theme Future Trends of Healthcare, preparing for tomorrow's challenges.
Many private hospitals have started doing that already. I know a friend of mine was ill sometime, and they had to get a doctor in a different country. I'm not sure which country it was, but it wasn't America, it wasn't Europe, it was a different country. And he was able to engage doctor to work. They worked on this procedure, a surgical procedure together. So it's been happening already, so maybe they're trying to get it to something more public hospitals can do. Vanguard, very quick, let's find a story we've not taken. Senate sack CCT chairman. Talked about that already. North will be best served by Northerners, says ACF. That's talking towards 2027. NNPC unveils Utapate, crude grade in global markets, eyes 80,000 barrels per day in 2025. Epileptic power, reps demand 500 billion naira capital base for discos. Terrorists from Mali, Burkina Faso in Northwest, and Niger State, says Senate. Russia, Ukraine, Kyiv fires British Storm Shadow missiles into Russia. Import license, Dangote refinery suit incompetence, says NNPCL, and military alone can't end insurgency, says NDA command. Okay, story?
Yeah, so I have the story of the North. The North is finally waking up. I've always said that once the power shifts, we are going to see our problems and we'll start taking care of them. They said the leaders of the North, some people came together, that's the Arewa Consultative Forum, they came in together and said that leaders in the North are responsible for the wars of the region and not Bola Tinubu, because everywhere they're just saying is Bola Ahmed is the one that is the problem. But they're not saying that we should not be blamed for the poor socio-economic condition and underdevelopment of that region. They said in more than 2 decades, the northern part have been battling with insecurity, banditry, socio-economic challenges, poverty, mass unemployment, infrastructural deficits. And that right now, what they are going to do is, all the governors and senators, and they've all come together, led by Senator Ibrahim Shekarau. A group has been formed. He said that if they are going to have to resolve all of these things, charity begins at home. So they've all come together. And also, they said there's a newly established ACF radio, which will be used to sensitize the people of the region to the damage done by these vices and mobilize the people for problem solving. So they are looking for ways of how they can start.
So I hate to bust your bubble. It's not the first time I'm hearing of this, and it's happened before. We've had this conversation several times. I'm hoping it's for real this time around.
You know what?
It may
when
work out.
this new one that there are 260 of them. This new one that
260.
260.
Okay, all of them that came together.
Governors, senators, all the same
ministers,
people
that
who,
have
when
been
they were
around
there, they did not do anything.
They did not see it that time.
Now they have come.
They're now
you
seeing
know?
it now.
They have come.
I remember when Lamido was Mr. the phenomenal Emir was also screaming this
Is that
thing.
not why they
Nobody
removed
listened.
him?
So
They even abused him that time.
so
But now the effect is very, very serious.
it's always been bad.
It's not in
Doing that Boko Haram, when
Federal.
during the Jonathan period, it was really rife.
Yes,
the insecurity and the insurgency. But now, I'm hoping, for the sake of Nigeria as a
have
whole,
reached where they would
that
act.
they will begin to actually take steps. That would be fantastic.
I hope it's not just where they will be collecting money and we won't see anything.
Let's go on a short bit. That's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we'll bring in a special feature from GTEX Holdings. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.